calling all ambitious sales and marketing real estate professionals. This is serious warning. Believe me, what you are about to read may wake you from your slumber. Here's is why. The naked truth. What you don't know about rise in prices of properties that could affect your selling or renting of properties. Period. This week's news is of great concern to you, because if you are not in touch with the escalating prices of home and office, you will not be able to excel well in your selling performance. By the way, there is a powerful saying that knowledge is power and applied knowledge is supreme. True? Jokes aside. In plain truth, the contents of this news is a well-researched document, highly fitting for sales and marketing individuals like you and me. Honest? For starters, it's good we have a short preview of his newsletter. Alright. Basically these are the main concerns for us and developers. Some issues are related to the rise in prices of steel, aluminum, and copper. Also the matter of recruitment of labor. Additionally, price hikes in logistics and transportation. Finally, the inability to pass these rising costs to buyers, especially after the pandemic, as would-be customer have lost their jobs and some may even experienced salary cuts too. Knowing the main concerns, let's dive deeper, discover more, shall we? Thanks. Hear the news. Breaking news. Rise in prices of properties a huge concern. Peddling JA. Steel prices have been an uptrend along with other raw material prices, and this has put pressure on the construction and property developers. The construction and property development industry relies heavily on materials such as steel, aluminum, and copper to build their projects, whether property or infrastructure. According to industry players, these costs account for about half of the total costs for a typical property project. Main market-listed construction company Rurjaya Prospect Group BHD's chairman Dadak Tiang Ho said that prices of raw materials such as steel had shot up recently. Every company's profit margins will be affected. For a construction contractor such as Rurjaya Prospect, we have to tender new projects at a higher price of between 10% and 15% higher. Prices have gone up for not only steel bars, but other raw materials as well. As for the older construction contracts that have been signed at low prices have to continue, and we can't do anything about this. We will see some reduction in margins for the old jobs, T told Starbiz. T is also the executive chairman at another property developer, Eastern and Oriental BHD Co. Rurjaya Prospect is also involved in property development. As for the property development side, T said newer projects will have to reflect these new pricing structures due to the new cost structure involved. For newer property projects, it will have to be based on the new pricing. Very soon this too will have to rise, he said. The Real Estate and Housing Developers Association of Malaysia's REHDA acting president Dadak NK Tong said that raw material costs have gone up across the board. In the recent first half 2022 survey on developers, you can see construction costs going up a lot in the past 2 years. Definitely, there will be an impact on margins. All of these building materials require energy, or a fuel and oil, to produce. The question is how fast and to what extent, he said. According to REHDA, the survey among property developers revealed that building materials have risen for all materials used in a typical construction and property project. In aluminum rose 55%, timber 52%, steel 38%, cement 19%, sand 18%, and concrete 16%. Commenting on this matter, property developer IOI Properties Group BHD's chief operating officer Tay Chin Guan said that the rise in raw material prices is a big concern for property developers. The rise in raw material costs for all construction materials have broken past recent price records. Other than that, we have issues with the recruitment of labor now, as there is an acute labor shortage in the country, and this is a very serious issue. Tay said while wages have more than doubled now, he emphasized that it is still very difficult to find blue-collar workers. Price hikes are seen in logistics and transportation as well. The rise in construction costs is becoming very difficult for us to manage now. The labor issues with the rise in raw materials have seen our total construction costs rising by a net 20% now from about year AG. Tay explained that the quantum of increase for net costs could even rise by more than 20% for some projects, depending on the amount of steel used in a particular project. Tay said the company is in a difficult situation as it is unable to pass these costs on to the consumer. As property affordability is still a prominent issue now, We can't do this already, due to issues with affordability. It is still an issue after many years. It could get worse, as, after the pandemic, people would have lost their jobs and some may have experienced salary cuts as well. In a nutshell, this newsletter can best be summarized as a wake-up call to us, as the Scouts movement reminds us be prepared. With the uncertainty of price affecting properties and materials, we can always surmount these problems. Of course, we must strive hard to performance if we set our hearts and mind just doing that. To recap the salient points, we must be reminded following are the main concerns for us and developers. Some worries are associated with the rise in prices of steel, aluminum, and copper. Additionally, the problems of recruitment of labor, plus the price hikes in logistics and transportation. Lastly, the lack of ability to pass these growing expenses to buyers, particularly after the pandemic, as since would-be customer have lost their jobs. In reality, on our part, we should mount a united effort to contribute our efforts, time, and money to lessen the price rise of houses and buildings, not forgetting to improve the economy in Malaysia as whole. Workable? You bet. May I wrap up this week's newsletter with the wise words of Oprah Winfrey, media mogul. I will forever believe that buying a home is a great investment. Why? Because you can't live in a stock certificate. You can't live in a mutual fund. End of news. P.S. Come to think of it, we know if it is a lengthy newsletter, yet we want to congratulate you for watching and reading this bulletin completely. Needless to say, since you have fully read this weekly news, therefore, you now deserve more forthcoming weekly free bonus of chapters of the book How to Prospect for Your Ideal Customer. Additionally, we are eager to know which part of this newsletter you love most. Your feedbacks are critical so that we can help each other grow effectively. Lest you forget, these sharing will continue in the Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course in our author, trainer, and consultant's email, josephsfn@gmail.com, upon request. Alright, thank you. We hope to meet you next week. Goodbye and best wishes. From me, yours truly, Madam Sophia, the virtual presenter to CTM Joseph. Dated April 20th, 2022.